today we are gonna go through these, and I'm gonna start with the requirements that we have to fulfill to get this badge. So today we're gonna learn about scales, the composition of scales. We are gonna learn about the clefs that we use to write the songs, the stuff. What is a half note? What is a whole note? What is the difference between a march and a waltz? And the quarter notes, the half notes. So basically, like, what are the letters that we use to write music? Okay, and we're going to learn a little bit more about some of the great composers and their compositions as well. And so there's a lot that we have to learn, and we are going to get there as we go. But I would like to start here with the basics of music theory. In this aspect here, I would like to ask you, are you ready? So who is ready there? Could you type on the chat box and let me know if you are ready? Because if you are not, I can wait. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? Just say yes. Anybody ready? Okay. Yeah, thank you, Erin. So Erin is ready. Hopefully everybody's ready. So let's go for it. Let's jump in.
Yes, the guys are ready for you, ready to go.
Great. So the first thing that we have is the staff. And the staff has lots of symbols, and we need to understand them in order to read music. So from the left to right, that's how we read it. And from the left, it's where I'm going to start. So first we have this clef symbol. So the clef symbol is used to tell us what this note is. We're going to understand a little bit better about this later. We have the key signature. So sometimes, we go to church and then you can hear somebody say, "Oh, can you play this song in C, or can you play this song in D?" So they are talking about the key signature, okay? And then we have also the time signature. So, like, basically, this represents the matter, like the metrics of the music. So it can be 1 2 1 2, or it can be 1 2 3 1 2 3, or it can be 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So this is the time signature. And then we have here one note on the line, because I'm sorry, on the space, and here on the line. So in the staff we have 4 spaces. You can see 1 2 3 4, and we have 5 lines, 1 2 3 4 5. So we can place the notes on the space or on the line, either way. And then we have also, when these lines are not enough, we can go to the ledger lines, which basically write some extra lines and draw there. And then we can place in the lines or in the space between the lines as well. We have a double bar line, and we have a heavy double bar line. So when you see this, it's because the music is finished. It's the end of the music. So next, what we have is that basically this is exactly what I have talked so far, and we're gonna get this presentation. So I have added some text so that you can read it again. But basically, what is written here is exactly what I said. And then, for example, we have some other symbols. For example, the tempo marking, and here is written allegro, and because in general music is written in Italian. The dynamics of music is written in Italian. So allegro means happy. So this is a happy song, and you should play it very fast, and very happy. For example, we have here another dynamic marking, which is this P, and also these 2 lines that are growing. So basically, this P means piano, which is also Italian for like to play weak, that would be like the literal translation, or to play very slow, not slow, very low, very low. And you also have like this, which means crescendo, which in English means louder and louder. So getting louder and louder, So when you see like a piece of music, it's probably the dynamic marks are gonna be written in Italian, but of course you can also write in other languages. But in general, it's written in Italian, like allegro, crescendo, piano, and so on. We have here the music is written in using notes and also a representation for rest with silence. So a note stands for a sound, and a rest stands for a silence. So I remember my previous like teachers, they always told me, remember that the rest is always music. We tend to think that silence is not music, but silence is also part of music. And we actually write the silence in the music. We are gonna see some examples there as well. We have the accents, which tells you how to perform some notes. And basically so that's it in terms of this other symbol. Of course, there are many other symbols, and as you learn music, as you play your instruments, you are going to be able to learn some others, but just for you to have a general idea of how to write these. And here we have the musical clefs, and one of your requirements is to read music in these two first clefs, which is the G clef or the treble clef, and the bass clef or the F clef. But we also have this alto or C clef, which you can also use to write music. And how do they work? So we have here the treble clef is written, it has this shape, and it tells us that where the symbol curls around, where it curls around, so here, it tells that this place, this line is G. So that's why this is also known as the G clef. So where it curls around is G. So if we go here, you can see that it's going to be G. And from there, if you go up, it's going to be, you can just follow the alphabet. So it's G, and then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then starts again. A, so it's just like that. So if you go back, it's J, F, G, F, E, D, C. So it's a sequence that never ends. It's infinity going up, and it is infinity going down. Of course, like our ear cannot hear infinity, so there is a range of frequencies which we can listen to. And the bass clef, it tells us that the note between these two dots, it's F. So that's why this clef is also known as the F clef. So if I come here, let me try to get the marker. So if I come here, this is the F. And from here, I have F, G, A, B, C. And it's the same all over again. So if I go down, it's F, E, D, C, A, B. So it's like going up and going down, the same sequence. And this C that you are seeing here is the same C that you see on the other clef. So basically, this tells us that this clef, the treble clef, the G clef, is for instruments at a higher pitch, and this is also called the bass clef. So you can get from there that is for instruments which have a lower pitch. So, and we are also required to memorize these notes. And here it's a really good way to memorize it, you know. So we have this popular way to, like, we can call each line or each space a word. And for example, here we have that this is G, do you remember? But this is then E, G, B, D, and F. And we can memorize this by every good boy does fine. And you can always remember, if you remember that every good boy does fine, you are going to remember that the lines of the clef are E, G, B, D, and F. Okay?
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
yeah, that's a really nice way to memorize. Isn't it, Pastor? Have you
Yeah, so
memorized
even people like me can get to remember that. People who may not be very good in remembering things like me, I can remember that every good boy does fine. I like
Perfect,
that.
perfect. Yeah. And we have also the notes in the spaces, okay? And in the spaces, so this is F, this is A, this is C, and this is E. And if you see it, we can actually form a word which is face. So if you remember the word face, you're going to remember the notes in the spaces of the clef. So every good boy does fine for the lines, and face for the spaces. And the same we can do for the bass clef as well. And here it's almost the same. Before it was every good boy does fine, and here we start with good. Good boy do good boys, or good boy does good boys do fine always. You know, so good boys do fine always. So you remember that between the dots we have F, and here is the F. Fine. Is it fine? Cool. And in the spaces we have all cows eat grass. Isn't it true?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you can remember that you know, you can. So next time you look at a cow, you're going to remember the clef and the notes, right?
All cows eat grass. I'm not sure about some cows from somewhere in the world I know, but yeah, I think this is very good to remember.
Yeah,
And
that's
Tiago thinks this is an amazing method to memorize the notes. So we got a good comment there on Facebook. Guys, do keep us informed what you're thinking as you're going along. So just type it in. And remember, we've already shared about the worksheet. In fact, maybe we didn't. The worksheet would be available on the BUC website, and we'll be putting a link to it shortly. So make
it's
sure
there
that
already. I
you
have
follow that.
checked. It's there.
Good.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor. Thank you. Um, so next, what we have here is let me. Okay, so let me try to come here. Okay, yeah. So now we are going to talk a little bit about the pitch. Okay, sharp, flat, natural notes. Maybe you have never heard about this, but now we're going to get into it. So basically, there are 7 natural notes, right? And the pitch of a note is how high or how low it sounds. And to different pitches, we musicians, we give to each pitch a different letter. So we give A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So these 7 letters for the 7 natural notes. Okay. So for example, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna write these. I'm gonna write 7 notes here. So can you see the piano here? Can you see, Pastor, the piano? Can you see the piano?
Yes, I can. I
Oh,
can.
thank you, thank you. It's because
And
I can't see you. I
yes,
can see
yes,
the.
yes. Sorry about that.
So
I was
we
trying
have
to
here.
unmute.
I'm gonna. So this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C again.
Oh, that
But
is cool.
what is the difference between this C and this C? Can you hear the notes? So this is C, and this is C.
So what's the difference between those notes, guys?
What is
Share
the
with
difference?
us what you think. What the difference between those notes, the different C's that were played. I think it was C4, C5, and C6. What was the difference between them? If anybody wants to share, just put it down on the chat, please. Would appreciate hearing from you. Hannah thinks it's a higher pitch.
Yes, you're totally right. Yeah, Hannah. So it's basically there are different pitches. So I can have very low pitches like this C1. It's very low. You see how low? And then we have C3, and then we have C4, C5, C6. It's all C, but different pitches. Yeah, thank you. You got that right. Thank you. Um, and then, okay, so then we have here the natural notes. So the distance between one C and the next C, we call one octave, okay? So basically they are one octave far apart. So that's the difference between them and how we call them as well. So, and then we have here, but actually, we have only played the white notes, but we have the black notes as well. And so there are not only 7 notes in Western music, there are actually 12 notes because we have 7 white keys and we have 5 black keys. And our Pathfinder here is asking, how do you name the other 5 notes, the black keys? How do we name them? So that's where a sharp and a flat takes place. So we have the natural note, and then we have the sharp, and then we have the flat. So what do you think? Do you guys know what a sharp symbol mean? Anybody knows what does a sharp symbol mean?
What does a sharp symbol mean, guys? So we want you to share with us. We've heard some answers from you. Ubuntu was responding earlier on, and I think she got that right as well. And so we want to hear from you guys about the sharp symbol note. Michael earlier on was telling us about the 8 keys apart as well. And now we have this new question, and Aaron says a half step higher.
And Hannah as well. So Erin and
Hannah thinks semitone higher. So we've got half step higher and we've got semitone higher. Oh, these guys are sharp.
oh, who
I would say a sharp symbol is a Hannah or Erin.
so who is right here? Is it a half step or a semitone? I must say both of you are right. So this is the same. A half step or a semitone is the same in music. Okay, so both are right. So it's a half step or a semitone higher. Well, what about the flat symbol?
Okay, so tell us about the flat symbol. Now that you all answered that correctly, we are asking you guys to tell us about a flat symbol. So
Yeah,
guys on
so
Facebook, we are looking for you as well. We need to hear from what you guys think. And shall we wait for the guys on Facebook, or shall we go with both Erin and it's Erin TT Club Ministries. Oh, I think I know who is answering these questions. That's very good, by the way. And Hannah, they've come up with different answers, but I'm gonna go with the guys on Facebook. So Tiago thinks it's lower in pitch, and Buntu thinks it's half step lower in pitch.
yes, so it's exactly. It's a half step lower in pitch, or a semitone lower as well. So it's lower in pitch. That's right. So okay, but now it comes the question: how do we use this to write? So this is what I have written here is exactly what you have answered to me. So I'm gonna skip that. So look at the examples here. How do we write these notes then? So we had written the C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. These are the natural notes, okay? And this is the symbol for the natural, but we don't need to write them unless we have written these before, okay? Then we want to have these stated, it is natural. So what we can do is actually, we can go from C to C sharp. And then from C sharp, we can go to D. But if I am on D and I want to go back, then I can go back from D to D flat. Did you guys understand? So is C sharp and D flat the same note? What do you guys think? Yes or no?
So did you
I'm
say
gonna,
C sharp and D flat?
yes. Is it the same note? Are they the same notes? So because I'm going, I want to be, we have named the white keys and now we are naming the black keys. And the black keys, we name them using the sharp and the flat symbol. And a sharp is a half step higher. So I'm going from C higher, I'm going to C sharp. But if I am on D and I want to go down, I want to go back, and I want to go one half step lower. So I'm gonna go from D to D flat. And I'm in the same place on this
Okay, so
first.
you've got some answers now, Lucas. Hannah says it's the same, and Erin TT from Trinidad and Tobago is saying yes. The answer is yes, and Buntu is saying yes as well. And if Buntu says yes, okay, not let me not say that. These guys are saying yes, and so that's the answer.
Yes, perfect. Yes, they are the same notes in Western music, okay? But like some instruments, that you can actually differentiate between them, right? But in Western music, yes, they are the same. That's right. So basically here we have C sharp or D flat, then we have D sharp or E flat. But here you see it's missing a note. It's because between E and F is already a half step apart, but C and D are a whole step apart. But wait, don't get confused. I'm gonna get there, okay? So here we have E natural and F natural. They are one half step apart because there is no note between them. But G and A, they are one whole step apart because there is a note between them. So now we have learned how to name the notes. We learned that there are not only 7 notes within an octave, there are actually 12 notes. So we have 7 natural and 5, which are the black notes, okay? Which we write with sharps and flats, okay? So let's go to the next one. So we have already covered these. So one of the requirements is for you to differentiate, tell what a half step is and what a whole step is. So here again in Western music, the small interval between 2 notes, one note and the closest higher note or lower, is called a half step or semitone, as Hannah was writing as well. So we have from C to C sharp is a half step. We have from E to F another half step. And we have from G sharp, from A, another half step. Now, guys, let me see if you have learned this. There are some examples here but you can draw other examples from here. So anybody would like to type on the chat box another example of a half step? You can look here. So what is another example of a half step?
Okay, guys, let's talk to Lucas. He's doing so good so far, and let's talk to him. So, what is another name? Did you say?
Another half step. So for example, I'm gonna type one on the chat box so that you can understand what I mean. So for example, I have D and I have D sharp. It's one half step. Yeah, Hannah.
Oh, so Hannah is like G to G sharp.
Perfect, perfect. Now one using a flat.
Okay, how about using a flat, guys? Let's talk to Lucas. He's so impressed with you guys. So
Yeah,
give him the
Hannah.
answers. Give him the answers. We've got B to B flat and we've got F to F flat.
Yeah, so B to B flat and F to F flat. Both of you are right. But now, Tamu, you have just brought an interesting thing here, because what is actually F flat? It's E. Yes, thank you, Hannah. So F flat is E. So yes, you can say F flat, it's okay, there is no problem. And that's a half step as well, so you are right there. And thank you for bringing these up. So because between E and F, again, there is no note between them. Perfect, you guys are so smart. You guys are, I don't know, it's so good to present to such an audience. Thank you for the
They've got a
answer.
very good teacher, so it works both ways.
Okay, and now we have the whole step, right? So we were talking about a half step, and now we are talking about a whole step. So for example, when we have one note between them and I jump that note, then I have two half steps or a whole step or a whole tone apart, okay? So for example, if I am on C and I want to go to D, this is a whole step. But for example, if I am on E and I want to go a whole step up, I cannot go just to F because there is no note between them. So between E and F is a half step, and between F and F sharp is another half step. So if I am on E and I want to go one whole step up, I need to go to F sharp, not to F. So it's not the same as going from C to D. I know this is getting a little bit more complicated, but when you look at the keyboard, at the keys of the piano, you can visualize this, because if I go half step and then one more half step is a whole step, and then if I go another half step and another half step is a whole step. But now if I go one half step, I'm already on F, and then if I want to go a whole step, I need to add another half step and then stop on F sharp. Is this clear enough for you guys? Is it clear enough? Let me know if I need to explain this again. Yes, thank you, Jaden, thank you. Yes, so would anybody give me another example of, yeah, so Hannah said, yeah, I was about to ask that, and Hannah has already replied. So B to C sharp is exactly the same as we have from E to F sharp. Thank you, Hannah. So yes, that's one whole step. Would anybody like to give me another whole step? D to C sharp. So when we have D to C sharp, we are going down a whole step. We are going down a half step. So if I want to go down, I need to go back to C, D and C. But it's okay, we are learning together, okay? We are learning together. But thank you very much for engaging and for participating. We have lots more questions, and actually our Pathfinder here is asking, what if I want to go 3, 4, or even 5 steps from one note to another? Oh my goodness, things are getting complicated now. We saw a half step, a whole step, and now he wants to go 3, 4, and even 5 steps from one note to another. I think you guys are like this Pathfinder here who wants to know everything, right? So let's see if I can answer that. The next one here is, so we need to talk about intervals to answer this question. And our leader, our Pathfinder here is saying, oh, that's a good question. So the interval between two notes is the distance between the two pitches. So in other words, it's how much higher or lower one note is than the other. And if I want to go like, let's say 3, 4, 5 steps of half steps up or down, I need now to start counting. So for example, now I am, okay, that's a good question. Which note is this one? And does anybody remember? So I have this first note and this second note. Could you guys tell me what is the first note? Yes, yes.
So Jaden, yeah, Jaden and Aaron have put answers B.
B, yes, yeah, and Timu as well. He said B as well. Yeah, you are all right. So remember, every good boy does. So I've actually given the answer. Which is the next note? Every good boy does. Which note is that? No, it's not. Yes, it's D. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So now we are. So basically, if I want to know the interval, the relationship between B and D, now I need to start counting. Okay. So if I count here, I'm gonna count 1. I always start counting from the note I'm going from. Okay. So I'm going from a B. So yeah, hey Jade, yes, I'm glad that you understand. So it's B, C, and D. So it's 1, 2, 3. So basically, the relationship between B and D is that the D is a third in respect to B. Okay? So the D, it's like B, C, D. So it's a third with respect to B. And one of the requirements is for you to know what is a third is and what is a fifth means. Okay? So in this aspect, what would be the fifth of the B? So we saw that the third of the B is D because it's like 1, 2, 3. What would be the fifth? Yeah, so Hannah is there. Hannah is fast answering those questions. Yes, it's an F, right? So the fifth, it's an F in respect to B. That's right. So it would be B, C, D. It's a third. And then we have, after D, we have E, and then F. So we have D and F. So we have the first one, the third, and the fifth. So these are the notes. So you have already fulfilled the requirements. So you actually know what a half step is, what a whole step is, what a third, and what a fifth is, right? And here we have some other examples. I'm not going to cover that because it's more than we are asked for in this honor, and I don't want to get things very complicated. But as you could imagine, as we have a third and a fifth, we also have second, sixth, fourth, and an octave. And an octave, we have covered these in the beginning as well, which is like, it's the same note, but at a higher pitch, right? So here we have E, and this is also E, right? But this is low, and this is high, okay? And these are just other examples here. Let's try to hear the difference between these notes. I'm gonna type here C, okay? Then I'm gonna type here the third, which is E, and I'm gonna type here the fifth, which is G. Now, because now I'm going from the C, right? Because I'm going from C, the third is gonna be E, and the fifth is gonna be G. When I play these notes, let's see if you can hear. I'm gonna play it again. So these are notes that if we get them together, I'm gonna now type them together here. I'm gonna type here. So I'm gonna type C. I'm also gonna type E, and also I'm gonna type G. And now let's play them again. Did you see that how nicely these three notes sound together? Let's play it again and try to lower the volume here. Could you hear that? Yes?
Yeah, we could hear that nice and clear, actually.
Yeah, so that's a chord. Yeah, Jaden. Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, that's a chord, and that is C major. These three notes, these special three notes, they form a chord, a major chord. So when we have a prime, a third, and a fifth playing together, we have a chord, right? And if I go there and I can even place here another one, another C at a higher pitch. And if I play them, isn't it nice? So we have a chord. So one of your requirements is to understand these three intervals, the third, the fifth, and the octave. And when I have all of them together, I have a chord. Okay, let's go now to this part. I like this part, the duration of the notes, right? So it's the same as, we have letters, but these letters in music, they tell me how fast one note is related to the other, So basically, it's not really how fast, it's actually more about duration, right? Because if it is fast or slow is actually a dynamic marking, as we're saying, like allegro, allegretto, which are Italian markings. What we have here are actually a duration relationship. And here we have, this is the British way to say it, and this is the American. So I just brought the two ways because this is the most popular way, like most music comes with these ones, but this is also well known as well. So we have the whole note or a semibreve. We have a half note or a meaning. We have a quarter note or a crochet. We have an eighth note or a quaver. And one whole note is equal to two half notes. And one half note is equal to two quarter notes. So one whole note is equal to four quarter notes. Let's try to understand this in the music. So I'm gonna delete this, which I have written here for you guys, and let's go back. I'm gonna just play, I'm gonna type here C. I'm gonna type C. And then we have C again, but I'm actually going to start with the semibreve, okay? So you can see that the semibreve took the whole space here. Now I'm going to go with the half note. So now in this measure, this bar, I was able to put two half notes. How many quarter notes you think I'm going to be able to place in this measure now? Anybody? How many quarter notes am I going to be able to place on this measure now?
Yeah, guys. So how many? These guys are doing so well. So let us know. 4, Hannah says.
Oh, yes, 4. Oops. Yes. And now if I go with the 8th note, how many can I place here now? How many? 8.
Amu thinks 8, and so does Hannah and Jaden.
Yes, perfect. And now let's go to the next one that is not there. It's the 32nd. How many 32nd notes can I place here? This is more challenging. Does anybody know?
16.
Yes. So,
Hannah, well done.
okay, Hannah, I'm gonna push you forward. So what about the 6/4 note?
You are pushing, aren't you?
Oh. Hey, hold on, Hannah. Okay, the note
24.
24. Oh, let's try to find a pattern here.
She's
1,
put down 24.
2, and then from 2 we have 4, and then from 4 we have 8, from 8 we have 16. So it's always doubling, right? So it's like 1 times 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 8 is 16, and 2 times 16 is equal to 32. Yes, so it's 32. Yes, so it's a you thought you were coming to a music class, but it's actually a math class. It's all right.
Yeah, we've got a question though. Earlier on, Hannah asked, what would the interval be if one of the notes have a sharp or a flat?
Okay, so which interval, for example, because there are many. Okay, before I go this, let me, for example, come here. So let's say we have, what is the interval between C and D flat? Oh, D sharp. So I'm gonna write here C, C, and I'm gonna write here D sharp. Okay, or it's also E flat. Let me count this E sharp. Okay, so we have C and D sharp. So what would be the interval between these two notes? So answering Hannah's question before we get into this. So we need to count, okay? For example, if I go from C to D, it's 1, 2. So D is a second related to C, right? But because it has a sharp, it's not only a second, right? It's not only a second, it's a second augmented. So if I go back to the slide here, for example, when I have it doesn't show here, but for example, 2 half steps, 1 half step is a minor second, 2 half steps is a major second. But in this case, it's not shown here. But when I have, oh, sorry, when I have a D sharp, which is like a second, but is a augmented. So question, she has another question. So if it would be a flat, would it be a diminished? So there is a difference between diminished and minor, okay? So in this case, it would be a minor. So for example, if I have here a C, and then I have a D flat, okay? It's no longer a D sharp, it's a D flat. So in this case, it's a half tone. And it's because it is a D, it's second, because C and then D, so it's a second. But because it has a flat, it's no longer only a natural second, is a minor second, right? Is a minor second. I hope I have answered your question. Is that clear?
Oh, she said, oh, so something is, yes, it is, she says. So good one there.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, and D flat is C sharp, but so Jada asked, and D flat is C sharp? Yes, it is. But in this case, we cannot call a C sharp a second, okay? Even though it's the same, it sounds the same, but we cannot call C sharp a second. It has to be, if it is a second, it has to be a D related in respect to C, because it is 1, 2, C, D, okay? Just to clarify here. Okay, we are getting very deep into music theory here. You guys are very smart. Okay, now let's listen to it. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer as we go, okay? So let's hear to the whole note, to the half note, quarter note, eighth note, 16th and 32nd, 6th, 4th, and all the notes. I'm getting confused as well. Hey, Hannah, you are going to the grade 5 theory soon. Oh, awesome, awesome. Congratulations. That's very good. And Jada is doing piano exams as well. Oh, man, we should get together to play some songs. Okay, let's play this. So this is a whole. See the difference. Do you see the difference between the duration, the time duration? Cool. Yeah, so that's how the notes relate, how the notes relate to each other, right? The rhythm aspect of the notes. Cool. Okay, let's move. Okay, now and then we are talking about this rhythm. What is the difference between a march and a waltz? Okay, so here we have a march, right? So this is an example of a march. So you can see that they are marching. It's like left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So you can, if we kind of convert these into music, it would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we can see that a march has this feeling of having like 1, 2, 1, 2, as you know, because we have these steps. We have, you know, to walk 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's basically a march. And I have brought here for you guys an example of a march, which is here somewhere. Just a second. Yes, it is here. So now that's a lot of instruments together, and I'm gonna play all of them for you guys. So here we have a piccolo, a flute, oboes, clarinet, all the types of the clarinet, alto clarinet, bass clarinet, contrabass, clarinet, bassoon, contrabassoon, saxophone, even, oh my goodness, the tuba, many instruments here. And this is a piece, is a march. Let's just listen to it, try to see if we get this feeling of 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's listen to it. Did you guys notice the 1, 2, 1, 2? Yes. So yeah, so the march could also be 2, 4. Yes. Could be 2, 4. Yes. Yes, you guys are very, yeah. So like, yeah, so there is no, there is no one. Yeah, there is actually, there is 1, 2 actually, but it's not very common. Okay, it's not very common, but it is possible to have 1, 2. Okay, you guys are very nice. It's because we are gonna get there. Okay, we are gonna get there. You are gonna understand. It's not. We don't really see it 1, 2. We usually write 2, 4 or 2, 2, right? Okay, so this is a march, and you can see here, this C is a common time, and this when the C is crossed, it is 2 by 2, basically, okay? It's 2 by 2. Now let's see what a waltz is. So as we said before, the march helps you stand in step during a parade, and we count each step in 2. And we have a waltz, which helps you dance with a partner, and we count this in 3. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's how a waltz is counted. And I have here an example of a waltz as well. So and this is a very famous waltz. I'm just gonna play a little part of it, and let's see if you guys remember this song. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Were you guys able to notice the
I
1,
was
2,
enjoying that.
2, 3? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jada, go ahead. What is your question? So Jada has a question. Staccato.
Is
Oh,
this
so
staccato? Okay.
staccato. Yeah, so it's a tempo marking. Okay, like, for example, we have here one example that we have here is this SF, which is esforçando, right? So this esforçando is kind of an explosion. You know, I don't have here an example of of a staccato, but it's the same idea. You know, it's a tempo marking. For example, we can see here. Let me see if when we play here, this is called like mezzo forte. You can see here. So this is esforçando, mezzo forte. This is esforçando again, and then we have fortissimo, and here is mezzo piano. So this is the dynamic of the music. And here we have. So when we get to this region, it gets very smooth. So here is very, very forte, and then here is mezzo piano. Try to know this again. See, very smooth. So it's a dynamic marking. It's a dynamic marking.
Good, good. These guys are so into it.
Yes,
And
they're
just to let you guys know, everything will be on our website. The presentation has been put up, the slides, and so on the BUC website. And so we are moving towards rounding it all up. Lucas, is it?
yes, of course, yeah. So
Good.
we have here, it's just finishing these because we have we have gone further. So basically, the top number tells us, like, this is the time signature. So the top number tells us how many beats we have in one measure, and the bottom number tells us what time of notes gets one beat. So this tells us that we have 3 beats, and the note that has 1 beat is the quarter note. As you can see, is the 1/4. So it's the quarter note. So in one measure, we have 3 quarter notes. So when I think it was Jada, he asked about like the 1/2. What would be a 1/2? A 1/2 would be 1 beat, and the note who has 1 beat is the half note. It's not very common. It's not common at all, right? Actually, I don't even have an option here to write. If I wanted to write 1/2, this would not be available to me here, right? But this would be like the same idea. I would have 1 half note, and I would have a bar of 1 beat. That would be basically it. Okay, I'm gonna try to move a little bit faster here. So we have these great composers, and I'm not going to talk a lot about them, but for example, we have Bach, who composed many songs, many concerts, and one of the best and one of the most famous is the Brandenburg concerts. And he also said that the aim and final reason for all music should be nothing else but the glory of God and the refreshment of the spirit. And then we have this is George Handel, and he composed his first opera at the age of 20, and he started to compose this type of music called oratorio. And one of the most famous one is the Hallelujah, right? The Alleluia of Handel. So I have it here. I'm just gonna show a little part of it. Where is it? What is it? What is it? I don't think I think I forgot to put this here. Yes, I'm sorry about that. It's not here. But we have, for example, this is the concert by Bach. Yeah, so and the handle Hallelujah, there is a funny video on YouTube where like each person has a word. Try to check it out later to see. It's very funny. It's very cool to see it. And when they call Hallelujah, and then each one brings a letter up. It's really funny. Then we have Beethoven, which everybody knows, and we even have the Ode to Joy in our hymns books, which is I have this one I have here for sure, which is the Ninth Symphony, the finale, the grand finale of the okay. And then we have this is Schubert. There, I also have songs for all of them, but I'm gonna try to wrap up here and to skip some of those. But you can check it out some of their compositions on YouTube as well. And then we have this with Chopin. He is like a romantic um, from the Romantic era, and he wrote many pieces for the piano and many nocturnes, which is basically night music. And what is an orchestra? Okay, I'm sorry guys that I have taken so much time, but I'm already finished it. So it's what is an orchestra? It's a ensemble of mixed instruments playing music. So if I go back here, for example, let me try to use some of the pieces that I have here um, to bring these to you. For example, we have the flute here, and when I play only the flute, that's what I have. You see, there is silence, and silence is part of music as well. For example, when you hear that, you cannot really understand the song by itself. If I go to the oboe, it's like, let me go to the same place. You see, it's not really cool. If I go here to the same place, if I go to the horn, to the same place, to the B, it's not cool at all. Let me try to go to another one, to the triangle. The triangle is really funny. It's just silence there. And then we have, again, maybe here. It's just a triangle. Then, okay, but what matters is that when I go back here and I go to the letter B, how does letter B sound? So letter B is here. When I get all of them, do you remember the flute? It was there. When I play all of them together, I have the violins. So that's how like when you hear just the flute, and when we go there, what is the difference that the flute makes? Did you see it? Isn't it cool? I love it. I love it so much.
It is. It is impressive. I like how
Okay.
you can cut them up in bits. But anyway, yes, back to
And
you.
yeah, we have got to the end of the presentation. I'm sorry for taking so long. There is just this that I would talk like because we have to also talk about the story, a story of a hymn composer, and I have the story of this Horatio Spafford. He lost his four daughters in a shipwreck, and after that he wrote a very well-known song, which is the "It Is Well with My Soul." You know, it brings, and even today it's a song that we sing all the time in church. And when we sing a song, there is in our hymn, we don't know the story behind it, you know. And and the experience, maybe you and I, we have experiences as well that we could um, use to write music so that we could sing at church. And I would like to encourage you, because one of the requirements is for you to sing or play 15 songs, right? Um, and in church, or you can record it because you're not allowed to go to church now, but you can record it and send it to your leader, so they can broadcast on Zoom, on YouTube, and use these during our services. And
Nice,
that's
nice.
basically, thank you very much. I'm sorry for taking so long.
Well,